Welcome to the Trades Podcast, a podcast about the business of home improvement and promoting the trades to young adults.
Yes, that's right. Promoting the trades to young adults. Here we are. This is the Trades Podcast. I'm Danny.
And I'm Jeff. What an exciting day to be here recording with some fabulous ladies here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's one thing that, Jeff, you're coming back here to San Diego to record right here in the Ignite BBB podcast studio. It's always good to have you back in the studio. And just like you mentioned, we got some very, very astute women that are going to be in the house today. We got Mandy and Jane. Mandy, Jane, how you guys doing?
Good. Yeah, it's a good day.
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you guys and with Mandy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're excited, for you to jump on the show, the podcast, and get a chance to put the company and what your movement is to put out there to the world and let everybody know about women in HVAC, the big companies out there in Virginia that you're managing out there, Mandy. So we'll start off with you, Mandy. If you could introduce yourself and your company, and we'll move over to you, Jane.
Yeah, absolutely. So our company is Cardinal Plumbing, Heating and Air. We've been in business for about 13 years. It was originally started actually by two master plumbers, and we added HVAC about 5 or 6 years ago. We serve the Northern Virginia area, so it's not a very large geographic area, but it's, one of those places where it can take you an hour and a half to drive 10 miles from one side of the city to the other. I was just saying when we were prepping for the call, we just hired our first female HVAC technician. She joined us as an apprentice and went through the apprenticeship program. So that's been really fun. And I've enjoyed, I moved from actually software marketing into the trades. And then over the last 2 years have worked up from the marketing director to the general manager of Cardinal. So I love the trades. I love talking to young people who are interested in the trades, as well as some of the older guys who are adjusting to the technology changes, AI, and things like that within the field.
Amazing. A lot of hats to wear in that piece, but it seems like you have a solid team behind it too. So amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Jane, go ahead. Go and introduce yourself to the Trades podcast world.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Mandy, boy, I can't wait to have coffee with you one day. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm Jane Sidebottom. I'm the president of Women in HVACR this year. I've been involved in the organization since about 2016 when I discovered them at an AHR conference, and have had just the real pleasure of being a mentor and volunteering throughout the organization before joining the board 4 years ago. For those of you that don't know Women in HVACR, we're about a 22-year-old organization started by a couple of women that were in the home services HVAC space that wanted to create an opportunity for women that were in that part of the industry to get together and to network and to share best practices and be professional support for each other. Today, we are between 12 and 1,300 women strong across the organization. The really exciting part for me is it's not just women that are in the OEM and manufacturing space or the services space. It's also a growing number every year of women that are leading contracting businesses like Mandy, which I just get so excited about. Techs, and accountants and HR professionals and women that are touching the industry really across the country.
Yeah, amazing. What do you think about that, Jeff? Oh, you said 1,200.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here in San Diego, we've been involved with a lot of different groups and organizations, and that's a pretty impressive number of people that are involved in an organization. So
we are for sure the largest and probably the most established. But if you could be bugging our board meetings, we just get so jazzed about learning about distributors that are putting together groups of women, other contracting groups that are women-based that are getting together. And we're here to support not just our members, but them as well, because we know this opportunity can be a really good space for women. We want to help them find it, and we want to help them stay and be successful in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, one of the things, 5 years ago when me and Danny started this was, there was lots of opportunity in the trades for young adults. Definitely a labor shortage is an issue across the board. You pick any trade and there's a shortage of people getting into it. So seeing organizations that are just stepping up and doing more and more for, the people that are part of that organization is something that we really love to hear about. And, knowing that we're finding more actually women organizations that, I really never heard about that much before when I was swinging them hammers.
We want to thank our sponsor. Superior Flooring Cabinet Designs is one of the landmark family-owned businesses in Encinitas. Owner Cheryl Robertson, with years of customer experience managing her family's hardware and cabinet business in North Park. Cheryl Robertson and the Superior team dive deep to learn about your project and help you find the perfect solution for your flooring and cabinetry needs. Call today at 760-436-0900 or visit www.superiorfloors.com.
We're finding more actually women organizations that, I really never heard about that much before when I was swinging them hammers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's amazing, one, to have both you ladies on the show. And I think one of the first things to really kind of dive into, Mandy, how many employees do you currently have within the Cardinal Plumbing, Heating and Air company?
Yeah, so we are at 42 employees. Of those, our call center manager is a female. Our service manager is a woman. Several call center or CSRs are also women, and then the female technician I mentioned as well.
Yeah, and amazing. And I'm sure just waiting to have more of those women come in and you start with one, but obviously it starts continuing like a snowball effect, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. In our leadership meetings, it's about half female, half male. And I think the diversity brings a lot to the table as we're discussing ideas and strategizing. And so we're always looking for the next great person to join the team.
Awesome. So you have a new HVAC tech. That's a lady. Did she come in with training or she started from the ground up with your company?
She was previously a maintenance tech for like an apartment complex. And so we did start her within the apprenticeship program, kind of on a fast track to learn diagnoses and other things so that she can be out in the field, which she is now. So she graduated from Ultimate Tech Academy with her certifications, and she's out in the field now running calls.
Awesome. So she has some related experience, recognized the talent, the drive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds great. Does Cardinal have different companies call it different things, success ladder, plan for, how you advance through the company?
We do. Admittedly, it is not as formalized as we would like it to be. That is one of the initiatives that I'm currently working on, really defining the move between classes for technicians in a more tangible way, less about the feeling your manager has and more about checking the boxes and completing the courses to be able to do that. Because we do love to bring in we have quite a few who have joined us as apprentices, a lot of them coming from other professional services outside the trades. Kira, the female technician, was actually a mechanical engineering major in college and just decided she really wanted to do the work with her hands instead of sitting at a desk. And so we see that a lot. And so really we've formalized the apprenticeship program now, and the goal is to continue creating the program for them to ladder up to earn their master certificate and other things as well, so that they have that defined path at Cardinal.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a well-oiled machine, but are there any challenges women face getting into the trades right now?
I don't know if I would say there are challenges getting into the trades. I think that some of the culture pieces can be a shock as a woman. I came from, as I mentioned, software where it is tends to be very PC. Everyone is very aware of the weight that their words carry. And that's not always true with technicians in the field. And so I think really, getting used to that, being able to push back, develop that, mutual respect where you can say to someone, hey, like that crossed the line, but also knowing where it's okay to just, accept people where they're coming from. And so I think that can be a challenge for some women in the field.
Absolutely. And,
If,
Jane, from
can I jump?
your
Can I jump in here?
yes, I was going to ask your opinion on that.
Yeah. So I agree with Mandy that the culture in kind of like the operations can be different from other industries, but we find we have a group of women that are really passionate about like their career paths, and they like to go and talk to kids about kids and young women. And one of the things we found is helping young women or even women wanting to find what I call a new collar or new career to visualize what a career could be in the HVAC industry. And we found it to be really impactful to be able to um, put women in front of them that have made the transition like Mandy has and have talked about it from a personal standpoint. Number one. Number two is to help reach in, especially with those younger women, and help them connect the dots between what they're naturally good at and how that might translate into a career in the industry for them. One of the best examples I've ever heard is a young woman who talked about why she chose welding in high school. She decided in high school to go into welding because she was really artistic. And she really liked to do, really careful line drawings. And what appealed to her is to be really good in welding. You've got to pay attention to the details and be patient, for example. She also liked the fact that it could pay her a nice wage, from a career standpoint. But she had a really good kind of mentor in high school that helped her connect the dots on what she was naturally good at and how that might connect into a career in our industry.
I love that, because there's a connection where they found a passion and they found something that they're really good at, and it was kind of like a chance given, but even then, the work has to be put in behind it. And I think that's something that Jeff and I have constantly, talked about in a sense of, how do we get into these young, adults' mindset of even thinking about the trades now. That with both, Mandy and you, Jane, we'll start out with you, but is there something that women are thinking? Are they even thinking about going into the trades right now? And if not, why not?
Well, I'm going to start with sharing a little information, late breaking news that we haven't even made to the public. We have a scholarship program through Women in HVACR, and we had close to 40 applicants this year, which is huge. The scholarship program will fund a 2 or 4 year program, a trade program, or a 4-year degree. And over half of them and it's for women, over half of them were for trade school. And some of them, and it's a point Mandy mentioned, were a couple of young women who kind of looked at college and really preferred more the hands-on as opposed to the theory straight out of the gate. And as I look at that, I get very excited about it because that number is almost double than what we saw last year, reflects the overall trend up with what we're seeing in terms of enrollment in trade programs. The number for women is still lagging the number of men who apply and stay, especially in our category. But I think it's just a matter of getting them mentorship early, and coupling them with someone who has walked the road before, can help them, kind of navigate the challenges that may come with them. And women face some pretty unique challenges when it comes to being able to go into and stay and educate in trade school. A number of our over the last 4 years I've been on the board, I've had the privilege of looking at all the scholarship applicants. Many of them are already parents and they're taking classes at night, and childcare is a problem for them in order to be able to complete their classes, or they're juggling multiple jobs with their education. And so, being able to have someone that they can talk to and to help navigate, kind of their path forward. We have some excellent trade school instructors that are helping to identify these challenges and look for opportunities locally to help support them, and that's a huge change, I think. But these are the things that they're having to overcome, and there's a lot of us out there that are looking for ways to help, not just help them get the education, but help them find a job and help keep them in the job once they get into it.
Yeah. So that mentorship is key, but and it sounds like you have a great team behind it that's going to help kind of help identify the challenges and see what we can address. But what's driving that growth that you think, that the uptick in interest?
The influencers, there's some great female influencers out there that are very active. The authenticity and showing what giving visibility to what their day-to-days look like, not just as technicians or building owners, but moms and wives and spouses. I think it's the realization that, I'd like to give women in HVACR and companies like Mandy's credit for making it a priority to go into their communities and talk about it. Big national organizations. If you follow this category whatsoever, everyone from Lowe's to big corporations are funding awareness around trade school and around opportunity. Now it is generic, and I'm okay with that. I can help work on getting the women in if I can partner with someone who's kind of raising awareness in the communities. But I think probably the biggest is the influencers and showing just how challenging and cool it can be to be in this industry. Mandy, what are your thoughts on that?
I would say too, when I was in high school, and I talked to a lot of friends who are in the same place, our parents were really focused on go to college, get a degree, white collar career. I actually have 3 young adult children and a teenage daughter as well. And we have been the complete opposite. We're like, look at the trades, look at the hands-on opportunities out there. Look at the security that comes from working in an industry that's not going to change to the degree where, you're going to be replaced by AI or whatever it might be. It always sticks with me. I think someone from ACA say, the difference between a third world country and a first world country is plumbing, and just really like honing in on that idea that like the trades matter, whether it's one of my daughters is going to EMT school, one works with horses at farms, like whether it's that type of thing or a specific trade. I tell all of them, I'm like, look at this, look at I would love to have a project manager, comfort advisor on staff who's a woman, because I just think there's a different touch that women bring when they're in someone's home, a different level of empathy. I would love to add that to our crew, but I think that there's just been a shift for a lot of us who are looking at the cost of college for our kids and saying, if one of my kids is a biochemistry major, so it's not that we're against college, but if you don't have an idea of something specific you want to do related to a specific field, look at the trades, look at these skills. Maybe you stay in them long term, maybe you don't, but it's a really valuable skill to learn either way.
Absolutely. Me and Danny have talked about this many times about college. We definitely need lots of people going to college and doing a lot of things that, we need doctors, engineers, physicists, all kinds of stuff. But you need to go in with a plan of what happens when you're
Yes.
done. And
Absolutely.
I think that's the big problem that we've seen for a few decades now, is people are just going to college and getting the degree and, not really sure of the plan. And, they make a great barista at Starbucks while they're figuring it out. So, not to bag on them, but it's the reality out there that, times are changing and you need to be a little more planning and work out the details before you commit to that
Yes.
time
Yeah.
and money. I did have a question for you, Mandy. At your company, you're building a career path for the students. One, does that help if you can articulate that to a future employee? And two, does that help with your current staff understand what I need to do over the next 6 months, 3 years, to keep moving up in the ranks, and what does that mean to me? And does that really help your culture?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it helps our culture in a couple ways. Yes, it creates this path of continuous improvement. It gives people a goal to work towards. That is a really important part of who we want to be. We want to be, a group of people who are all looking to grow and improve, from management down to, the latest apprentice. I think it also just provides that kind of certainty or security for them that if I follow the steps, this will be the outcome. Like a lot of companies today, we do pay a base, hourly rate, but a lot of compensation comes through various spiffs. If you do this, then you get this. And that naturally creates some uncertainty in your income, because, if the leads don't come in 1 week, that means I might not have the opportunity to do this or do that. And so I think by also having this layer of, here are the skills you need to develop to work into a class 2 technician. Here are the skills you need to be class 3. Here's how to get your EPA certification. Each of those things, it does provide a way for people to know that their income can grow, that their opportunities can grow. We do a lot of internal promotion as well. So we just had a plumber come out of the field, and he's the purchasing agent for the warehouse now. And he loves it and he's thriving in it, because people want opportunities, whether they're an HVAC tech or, the person answering the phone. The people we want to hire want the opportunity to grow and develop new skills. And so formalizing that, I think, just provides some clarity that feels really good for everybody.
Awesome to hear. Definitely the right way to be running a business. Provide some opportunity to people that work there.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And it seemed like for Mandy, like you had mentioned the AI earlier, or we were talking about AI earlier, and just how it might be looming over certain industries. But would you say that it's looming over your industry of Cardinal out there in Virginia for Cardinal Plumbing?
So Cardinal is actually an incredibly innovative company. One of our founders loves AI and the possibilities that it unlocks. And so I would say we are on the leading edge of how we use AI. We have agentic AIs that help pull reports and complete different processes and tasks on a daily basis. And those things help us all do our job better. We're not looking to actually replace anyone's job with AI. We're looking to make sure that each person is able to get the things they need to do their job better through AI. And that includes technicians and, creating interactive checklists where they can upload a picture and the AI can help determine if something is up to code or if they need to make an adjustment, and just things like that are really going to enable people to do more and better work with these tools literally in their pocket.
That's great.
That's something I haven't heard about on the AI side, of being able to analyze whether you're looking at the wall behind where the kitchen cabinets and stuff be, is all the plumbing up to code before we close it up and call it good. because that's eliminating a lot of experience and education that now a technician in the early part of their career can utilize that information hands-on right now. God, that sounds great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jane, are you seeing any feedback within the organization about AI?
Yeah, our members and a lot of our kind of very gracious speakers and people that share their knowledge are talking a lot about this in a lot of different ways. And one of the things that just struck me from the very beginning was, you look at this labor shortage and you look at how fast, the time it takes to get a technician out of school and get them up to speed and in the field, that AI just helps with productivity, period. It almost is like, it's almost like the layer you can apply to really be able to focus on the talent that you need in the organization, and be able to take some of those things that might have involved someone in the past, and get them up and running and quickly and being productive, and then also look at making that field technician more productive. We have a conference coming up at the end of September, and we looked for a topic to be able to talk to put on our agenda, and we had probably 30 topics that were proposed, and you kind of almost wish you had your own AI conference that you could just, because they were all really good. I am so excited for these young people coming out of school and what they get to walk into, knowing these tools are not just a thought or, what people are talking about anymore. They're actually in practice, and how much smarter it's going to help make them faster, because those tools exist. My father was a facilities manager. He came out of the military, a diesel mechanic, and went into facilities management. And, and he talked about the power of having apprentices and having those experts around you to help teach you and share that knowledge. Now you get AI to help with the apprenticeship, and that's just super exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. The younger generation is growing up with a cell phone in their hand. They come into graduating high school with a user degree in technology that really wasn't available a while ago. And what we've seen talking to like the PHCC here in San Diego and the national state one is that the learning process to get your 4-year journeyman degree is not taking 4 years anymore. The digital education that we can give them is allowing it to go much faster than that. So
and that's
they're looking
huge.
at ways.
That's huge. I mean, think about, Mandy, like you think about how young people can get impatient with wanting to be out there and self-sufficient and on their own, and how they might get frustrated and leave the industry because it's not moving fast enough for them. We just found a way to help it move fast enough for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the tools that are at our in front of us, I think, is something not to be scared of, and I think that's what AI and technology sometimes gets portrayed as, especially when it comes to something as a tradition or trade of plumbing, and even just any trades really. But we've heard it time and time again where businesses are using it more of a tool rather than something that's going to be replacing anybody. As we know that there's no robots out there swinging hammers quite yet. So yeah. But coming back to women in the trades, and we'll start with you, Mandy. But we were kind of thinking before we were coming on the show about, if are women more successful, within the trades, because generally when a call maybe goes out in regards to a remodel or even just a problem that may be happening, that women are usually the ones that may be the ones calling. Do you see a parallel in that piece?
I think there can be. We are very big on soft skills for all of our technicians. So that is not unique to women, where we're, we always say we're in the customer service business. And so we're really working with our technicians on empathetic listening and things like that. But I do think last week I had a customer, she was extremely upset. We had installed a coil. It was making a noise. We replaced the coil. It was making a different noise. And she had a lot of personal stress in her life. And talking to the men on the team, she was just getting more and more angry and upset, and nobody's listening to me. And so I took over that call and I called her, and there were moments where she was emotional in the calls. I probably spent 3 hours on the phone with her last week over different calls. But there was a different level of, I think she's a professional woman. And so she's used to defending herself against men who maybe, want to mansplain to her. And so she was bringing that baggage to her conversations. And when I was able to talk to her, that instantly was like a pattern disruption. And so we ended. It was still a very frustrating couple of weeks for her. I don't know that she'll be a raving fan of Cardinals at any point, but she did at least end not frustrated anymore. And so I think that is really valuable for women in the industry. I think there are men who are really good at it too. And so I would never say, this is a female only advantage. I do think it tends to come easier for maybe actually I would say easier for women and the younger generations, where there's more focus on that type of communication.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got some experience in the termite and pest control, doing termite inspections, and seeing women that were licensed termite inspectors going out to the house. Actually, that's who trained me, was a lady. And they have a different approach. It's much softer. It's, not as stressful. It's, not pounding on the door and it's like, you got to take this deal, or,
Right.
they were much more successful. And I guess I was very blessed to be able to train with a lady, because it gave me a lot of skills that made me successful too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I have a great story. I worked with a carrier contractor. When I was with Carrier, we had a contractor advisory council, and I learned so much from this gentleman. He was in the Denver area. He hired a staff of women that would go into. He would be doing installations in new homes, and he would work with the new home buyers to really understand the operation of their systems. And many of these systems were heat pumps with backup heat, for example, and they were, their whole job was, to be a comfort advisor, but to really help the women in the household really understand the temperature control and not be just intimidated with the technology and it just not being cold enough or warm enough for them. And it turned out to be almost like his secret weapon in being able to secure residential new construction build outs because of it, because he not just thought about getting the systems in, he thought about helping the homeowners be comfortable. And these women were, they were not HVAC people. They had not spent their whole career. They were moms and came out of retail and just had, to Mandy's point, a different rapport and a different way of communicating with them. I think that can be a huge advantage. At the same time, generationally, we still hear stories about, especially older women who see a woman technician show up at their house and they want a man because they associate men as being the experts in this field.
And Mandy, would you see that women are some of the main ones that are making the decisions in regards to any of the services that you're providing? And would that help if more women would be available to talk and go through some of these services?
Absolutely. Our owner just told me a story this week about the one and only time that a comfort advisor asked for the husband to be present during a sales call, and quickly was, told that that's not how it was going to be, and she was going to make her own decision. And so we do not pursue that as not a policy that Cardinal follows. But we do speak with women very, very frequently. They're the ones that we're talking to, whether it's, a two-person household or only a woman only household. We are speaking to women a lot of the time. And I think, for them, being able to speak to a woman makes a difference. Although honestly, even when I have to call a male customer because they've been escalated and I want them to know that we're looking into it and we'll get back to them with answers. Even that, having a woman call seems to make a difference. They just seem very thankful, and I think it surprises people enough that they kind of put their guard down. It's not the paradigm they're used to of this older man coming into the house just to fix the thing and not being very friendly and just in and out. And so it's just a paradigm shift that does open the door and opportunities. And then our job is to, follow through and deliver on that service to the degree that we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. Doesn't matter how many steps you go through perfectly if you don't execute the final one.
Yes.
Yeah. And Jane, I mean, you would kind of see that as well, or maybe hear it from other business owners or just areas around the country. But if, because it sounds like Cardinal, with you guys, Mandy, you have everything in order where you have a pretty big staff where you are including a lot of women into the spaces, not just as the technician, but in the back office, even in your position as managing. Jane, are you seeing that there's maybe a shortage of companies that are not moving towards that dial, and or can you speak to how it would absolutely benefit smaller companies that are growing to start including more women into their organization or team?
Yeah, I have to think here for a second. I don't think I'm hearing companies not wanting to, add women or not embracing the fact that women's styles can be a business advantage to them. In fact, just the opposite. I mean, and bear in mind, when I'm at an event or standing in the Women in HVACR booth, we typically get gentlemen who co-own the company with their spouse, or they just want to know what they can do to get more women in their company because they do see the benefit. I think a couple of things. When we survey our members about how they came into the industry and what kept them, almost 70% of the time, and I'm one of those people, they came in through a friend. Someone introduced them to somebody and they were looking for a job or they were looking for an opportunity, and the culture was right for them. The culture and the culture was right and the work was interesting, and they stayed because they were able to, develop a career path. Listen, I could use up all your time talking about the business advantages of adding women to your team and why you should be targeting young adults and introducing them to your company and doing, call the Grit Foundation and do a summer camp, or get Ty Brenneman to go in to your local high school and do a hands-on class with them and bring in some women from, local contracting firms like Mandy's or Women in HVACR to talk about what a good career path it is. Because I do believe that the way women think, the way that we operate, the empathy that we tend to have, the communication skills that are different, not better, different, just provide a more well-rounded leadership team. I mean, all of us who've been through leadership training, what's the first thing we're taught? Bring different methods and perspectives onto your team. It makes you stronger together. And I gave an interview a couple of months ago where I said, how can you have a good leadership team if you don't have women on it because of the perspective that we bring? So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but that's what's running through my head when I'm hearing the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we need people to hear, because women absolutely bring, a huge benefit to any business, and more specifically the trades, because it's been predominantly a male-dominated industry for a long time. But as we have gone through a lot of shows and even organizations, even just more recently, another plumbing heating company up in Seattle, implementing more paths for women to enter the trades, and through apprentice programs in-house, or whether it's through other associations to help out, like PHCC. But that's we absolutely see that there's a benefit for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I think
and I would love.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Well,
one of the things I think is.
No, you go. Sorry.
No worries. I think one of the things that I think a lot of people think about when they're picking a career is what will this career do to my body physically? What is the safety issues and stuff? And I maybe both of you can speak to that a little bit, but has the last couple decades in the safety regulations that have been instituted out there and affected the safety factor for women getting into the trades?
Mandy, would you like to field that first?
I'll let Jane go, because that's not a conversation that we've had internally very often.
So keep in mind that my path into the industry has been through a manufacturer. So I've been in product development and product design, and I can say absolutely, because as we look at the safety requirements and really making sure that we're doing what we can from a product standpoint to protect the people that are installing and moving the equipment around, very conscious of weight of the units, very conscious of guidance on how many people it should involve. It really almost must involve from an installation standpoint. The training that goes on that helps distributors and installers understand what it really takes to do a job well and correctly. And then shout out to the unions and the industry itself with best practices and sharing their knowledge. The influencers that are very active in tech support, really kind of talking about their field experience. So I think overall, I really liked the attention that I see to, helping physically to help. I think the other thing, and I think this is where the industry takes care of itself and takes care of its own. I live in Southwest Florida. I don't leave my home without water on any day because it's so easy to get dehydrated. The number of postings I've seen, for example, on making sure that the technicians and the field personnel are staying hydrated, or what is a temperature that's too hot to operate, or helping, oftentimes techs are being called to a home on the worst day of the year, whether it's heat or cold, to fix a problem, and balancing the homeowner's desire with the safety, how to take care of yourself. And then certainly in the women's arena, we have and we bring up on a fairly regular basis conversations about making sure that you're aware of your environment and that you're in a safe place, because not always are you out with a second person. And a lot of concern around a woman who was killed last year in her workplace, but just helping people to be self-aware in general, both physically as well as mentally, in carrying the equipment, installing the equipment, and being aware of their environment and making sure they're in a safe place always.
Yeah, great safety measures, topics, and important to be addressed, because those are just that sometimes certain things could be a perspective that many other people just may have not thought about or had to implement or train on. So that's actually a really great thing to even bring up.
Yeah.
Hey, were either of you guys at HVAC Tactical this year?
No, we were not. Is that located in California?
It's an event that is done every year, kind of spotlighting the influencers in the HVAC industry. And I'll tell you, one of the things I just wish I could have grabbed the microphone and started yelling at the top of my lungs about was these influencers showing the pride of their work and doing installations really well and being measured by their peers on not just the quality of the installation, but kind of their whole setup and how they approach the job, I just thought was fantastic. And I know it's been going on for, a while before I became aware of it, but I just thought, what better way to be able to communicate to people on how things should be done well than to show people doing them really well. And I know those videos are available out there. I think they hand out some awards, Mandy. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're really good.
Haven't.
And you're
That
almost
sounds
like,
really,
wow.
really cool.
Yeah, and you're almost like, wow, it looks like you could eat off the floor of the basement for that installation or off the shop floor for that installation. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, there's a few organizations that we know that are the camaraderie is what that kind of entails. There's a lot of camaraderie about the work that's done through the trades, and that's the fulfillment that I think Jeff and I have always spoken about. Where when you're able to showcase what you've done and how you've done it, and what team you're representing, what area you might be representing, what different factors play into different geographical locations in the country that people may not have to deal with, but hey, like you're dealing with, cold weather or hot weather, any of those sense. So, yeah, we'll have to look into that. Thank you for suggesting that. And for anybody that's out there, we'll put that in the show notes. But as we're wrapping up right here, I think I want to ask like a last question for both of you. Start out with you, Mandy, maybe in a couple sentences. But what would be, if you were going to give some advice to a business owner on how to grow like their team, build a better team, what would you tell them today?
Yeah, I think Jane hit on this. I think that to grow in today's climate, you need diversity of perspectives. And that looks like a lot of different things. It looks like having, former technicians in leadership positions. It looks like having women in leadership positions, people from different industries that have come into the trades in different positions. And I think when we are looking at our field staff, we tend to prefer to bring in apprentices and invest in them early, because you can avoid some of those bad habits that maybe they've developed in a not as great organization. You can teach them the soft skills and the culture from the beginning and provide those types of opportunities. But I would say, and even that, like, we are looking for people who are coming into their apprenticeship from a variety of different backgrounds. One of our best technicians was formerly in like healthcare sales or something completely unexpected, has a degree, was in the military, did a couple things, ended up in HVAC. The perspective he brings, his willingness to troubleshoot in the field and look for alternatives, and the way he innovates is just really something very special. And so I think looking for that diversity in a lot of different areas. Yes, racial diversity, gender diversity, income background diversity, all of those things, but also like professional interest diversity as well. Just really makes your company stronger.
Well said.
Yeah, Jane, anything to add?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of, building your community. And one of the things, I came from a different path than a number of other women in HVACR. And I had great mentors along the way that I didn't even know I needed until sometimes after the fact. Don't try and do it alone. Go pick our organization. Lady Titans, pick an organization of women and go in there not with an agenda of nothing else but to go meet some other women and to learn from them, because it's remarkable what you can learn from somebody when you're just sitting and listening to them talk about their experiences and their approach to things. We have a woman on our contractor advisory council who used to do operational excellence for 3M. I mean, she was in a role where she was helping them be more productive, and then she and her husband started their company, and she's brought that mindset to her own business. That's a gift, because she's incredibly generous. She'll sit and talk to anybody. So looking for your community. Go in with, no agenda, and just focus on building relationships and being open to sharing best practices. And then wherever possible, look for mentoring, because mentoring, I think, is the real game changer for anybody, male or female, in this industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you'll absolutely find that in the trades on all levels, from your, folks that are retiring out right now in the trades, and even the new upcoming seasoned tradespeople out there are absolutely contributing to a lot of the help of uplifting, the ones that are even just having a thought around it. So even if you're just listening to this and you're just thinking about the trades, really think about these conversations that we had today with Jane and Mandy, and building that community. And if you're in the business already and wanting to build up your team, it's really going to be that diversity of thoughts and ideas that will really enhance, I think, the operation and just overall your team and your growth and the camaraderie and the community. So, ladies, thank you so much. This was amazing just to have you both on. And we'll start with you, Jane, if you can just shout out what's the best way if people are going to reach out to you. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so the best way to reach out to me is either through Women in HVACR. All emails that go to Women in HVACR that are for me, I get them, I promise. Our executive director, Megan Millard, is excellent at that. Or they can find me on LinkedIn. And I am always open to a good cup of coffee and a chat. I didn't get here and build my business on my own, and I'm always open to helping other people.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
And Mandy, for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. My probably email is the best way to reach me. It's Ehman, EHMAN @trustcardinal.com. Like Jane, I love to not just share with other people, but learn from other people wherever they are at. That includes new people to the industry. I love to hear the perspective of people coming in and get those fresh eyes. So happy to talk to any woman who's considering a career in the trade, or any man who's looking for, what it looks like to make a more inclusive environment that women want to be part of. I'd love to have those conversations.
Yeah, and it's always good to shout out there to the parents. Parents, listen up a lot more also to these things, because a lot more parents and families are realizing it. So, two wonderful women, Jane, Mandy, thank you so much. They're ready to help. And ladies and gentlemen, it's the Trades Podcast. Share it with everybody out there and let everybody know that this is the industry and the trades to be in. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
Thank you.